Hey guys, I got some new plants that I need to share with you all, but not in the typical way because one is pink and highly controversial. The next one doesn't look like what I bought. And the third one, I only know one other person locally who has it. Join me in the greenhouse and let's get into it all. I can't wait to hear what you all have to say. I'm going to start with the most controversial one. At this point, we're all familiar. Well, I think if you've been collecting aroids for a few years, you would know about the Philodendron Pink Princess. This is mine, and I got it locally at Tropical Gems TT. By the way, this is not the new plant. I'm just starting here because it actually all begins with this plant. So it sports beautiful pink sectoral variegation. The emergent leaf comes out fuchsia pink. The petioles are these candy cane stems, primarily pink, and it maintains its variegation. It does fade eventually to a blush pink, sometimes white, depending on the growing conditions. But it is well, it has been, and I think it still is, quite a popular plant. Its reputation of being a difficult grow precedes it, and I totally agree. I have struggled with reversion, rotting, and slow growth at times. Now, take a close look at this plant in frame before I get into the first reveal, and this is where the controversy starts. On screen is my Philodendron Pink Princess Marble King. With my limited knowledge, I think this was one of the plants that came out pretty soon after the Philodendron Pink Princess went into tissue culture. Now take a look at this. It's the first of the three plants I'm going to reveal in this video. Let's deep dive into the features and you tell me if this is actually a different plant. So the petioles and the stems have the pink, well, the fuchsia pink variegation that we saw on both the Marble King and the Philodendron Pink Princess, the original. The one that started it all and still causing confusion having entered tissue culture. So to me, the petioles and the stem look the same, right? Now, coming back to my Marble King, which I unalived unfortunately, so I don't have it in the mature form, but I'll put back a picture on the screen so that we could compare side by side with this new plant that was so generously gifted to me by another plant collector. Don't get me wrong, I'm not being ungrateful at all. I am just trying to get to the truth behind these plants. The question in my mind is, are we being marketed the same plant or is it something new? If you haven't recognized this plant as yet, this is the first of the three plants in my plant haul today, and it's the Philodendron Pink Princess Galaxy. Now, when I asked if you recognize this plant, it's because I cannot tell the difference between this and my Marble King. Let's compare them side by side next before I get into the facts that I dug up. Okay, so you tell me, is there a difference between the two? I would love to get into it in comments, especially if you guys have these plants already. But to me, I can't tell the difference. I can't see change in the color, variegation, petioles look the same. I really genuinely can't see the difference. Compared to the original Pink Princess, I definitely can. But here's my 2 cents. While you admire my Philodendron Pink Princess Galaxy, which I have been doing for the past, well, since I got it, to be honest, and a third new leaf is on the way, which is such a joy to watch, I am going to present my internet findings about these controversial plants to hopefully leave y'all in a better place, a more informed place if you're thinking about adding one of these to your collection. And I'm just going to cut to the chase. There is absolutely no genetic difference between these plants and the original Pink Princess, which means it's not a new cultivar or new plant, simply put. Pretty much, tissue culture just created this type of variegation in the lab. And the speckled variegation or marbling with minimal sectoral variegation has been the reason behind the naming, which is common practice. Usually, the visuals of the plant govern the names of the plant. Well, that's what I've observed anyway. So, all in all, it's not a new plant per se. Just the same plant, the same Philodendron Pink Princess, but with way better variegation, in my opinion, anyway. So, what has happened naturally in our plant community is that it entered the market being presented as a new plant, but I wouldn't say that it was being pushed as a brand new cultivar or new species or anything. It was being presented as just a more highly variegated pink princess, but I don't think many of us dive deeper into nomenclature of the plant or just the genetics of the plants and stuff at no fault of your own. I am smitten very easily by a beautiful plant as highly variegated, and I will just buy the plant and take it home and figure it out later. But in this case, it really has been marketed as a new enhanced pink princess per se. But if I had to say there's a difference between this and the marble, there's none to me unless I'm being visually deceived. And this is where you come in to set me straight. Just comment below if you think or if you know that there is some difference between the Philodendron Pink Princess Marble King and this galaxy. But to me, it's important for us to really get this information out there so that people don't double buy. And finally, here's what the internet had to say. So, the difference between the Pink Princess and the Pink Princess Galaxy or Marble, which means that name is being used synonymously or interchangeably, indicating that it's possibly the same thing, is that the pattern of variegation as compared to the original Pink Princess is a lot more abundant and stable. In terms of the genetics, many hobbyists consider the galaxy to be the same plant and not a new cultivar or new plant like I mentioned before. So what has happened in the market naturally is simply put, more variegation equals more money. And the term marble versus galaxy is being used interchangeably. And with all that said, what did I buy when I bought the Marble King? And at this point, I think I've confused you all enough, so I'm going to end this one here and move on to my second plant. If there's any takeaway at all that I want you all to have from this segment is to not to fall for the marketing ploys where you're paying a premium price for a plant that exists already, is not rare, and looks identical to one on the market that's way cheaper. So, in other words, do your due diligence before dropping that coin. To me, the marble or the galaxy definitely looks different from the pink princess. It is not a genetically different plant, but it's more visually appealing. And this is why I'm so happy to have the galaxy in my collection. I will not replace my marble king, whatever that is, because I find the plants look identical. So I'm so happy to have a highly variegated pink princess in the form of the galaxy back in my collection, and I hope you guys can appreciate it too. I'll be sure to update you all in terms of how it performs as compared to the pink princess and other aroids in my collection. Okay, so let's take the pace down now with one that I bought as a dark form but looks like a platinum. I'm not gonna lie, growing in the greenhouse has really boosted my confidence, and I've started adding back Luxurians species and their hybrids in here. The second plant is my Anthurium luxurians, the dark form. As mentioned before, the greenhouse has just been presenting the ideal conditions to help me grow these Anthuriums, which have been the most difficult for me thus far. I want to preface this section by saying I do not have any tips for y'all. I am really just starting over with this type of Anthurium. That's the Anthurium luxurians and the hybrids. But I'm hoping in the future to have something more substantial for y'all. Like I said, the greenhouse has really turned things around for me when it comes to these types of plants. Once you're subscribed to the channel, you'll be the first to know what I've learned. I really share everything with my audience, and I look forward to you all doing the same, especially with these. If you have any tips for me, drop everything you know down in the comments. And back to this Anthurium luxurians, the dark form. You might be asking yourself, well, why do I think it looks like a platinum? And that's because I had the platinum. I'm going to reveal all the luxurians and the hybrids that I had before the greenhouse that unfortunately I have unalived, but I do remember their beauty and their presence in my collection. And I'm going to take you all down memory lane. On screen right now was my Anthurium Luxurians Platinum. I got this one locally at my Maison Tropical, and it had the most beautiful silvery sort of Cebu blue look, and it was just mesmerizing. I'm looking at this footage and my brain is stalling, but I want to know if y'all can see a similarity between it and this one that I got recently, my dark form. But I trust Samantha at SG's. I got the dark from her, so I know that is what I got. So, as I mentioned before, I have had these plants before growing outdoors in ambient and they perished. So, this is my second dark form. I've had it a couple months now and it lives in that spot within the greenhouse under my 70% shade cloth. So, it does receive a sufficient amount of light, but no new leaves have come yet. From others who have this one, they did mention that it's a super slow grower. So I was kind of excited when I see this new root poking out. I didn't want to repot it or do anything much because I'm still learning about this. So I just topped it with moss and I'm hoping for the best at this point. I received it with two leaves and unfortunately I didn't take footage at that point, but it has dropped one of them. The advice that was repeated to me the most was to let humidity do all the work for me instead of drenching the pot frequently. So I have to place it. Well, I think I've placed it in a spot that receives or that experiences high humidity, but it's been taking a while and I haven't seen the root that I showed y'all grow any further. So I'm thinking to move it. Comment below if you know what I should do. But I am seeing that little tiny growth point there, but I can't be certain that anything real or anything further is happening. The plant that really pushed me to purchase this one, I mean, the one that really boosted my confidence was the Anthurium Luxurians chocolate. So I'm going to put that one up on the screen for y'all next. And it was able to put out two new leaves in the greenhouse. And that just sparked interest all over again in this plant. And I started researching it more to try and learn more about it because now I'm thinking, hey, maybe this time around I can do it. And wait till you see the last plant. Hint, hint, that was gifted to me by another generous soul. But I want to show you all the plant that basically started this growing journey or interest in growing Anthurium luxurians for me all over again. But before I do, I just want to mention that my favorite feature on this one and common to other collectors is the texture. So this is the Anthurium luxurians chocolate. The major difference between this and the dark form is that the emergent leaf comes out in this chocolate color. The veins are quite red or pink, but it hardens off into that regular color that we know the luxurians to be. And the petioles, as well as the veining, is red as opposed to regular green color like you can see here. This is what it looks like today. That's the Anthurium luxurians chocolate. It grew these two new leaves here in the greenhouse. No joke, it came back from a stump. But you can see where the original growth point was on the right. So another one activated and these two new leaves grew in my care here as soon as it entered the greenhouse. After the move, it went into the garage. I swear I was going to lose it because I lost all the others. And I was just blown away when this one came back. And this, like I said before, is what ignited my enthusiasm to start back collecting Luxurians. They haven't been growing together. One, that's the Anthurium luxurians chocolate, grows just to the right of the dark form, just over here. I haven't just yet been able to really pin down the care and conditions that are ideal, but I'm really hoping to do that for y'all this round. The final plant in this plant haul, which is coming up, is actually pushing new growth, and I can't wait to show y'all. I have to show y'all this one first. I know some of my plant friends are going to be cringing in this moment with me, actually, because to revisit this moment is not the greatest feeling. But on screen right now is my Anthurium red veined dark phoenix by Luxurians. This is ultra rare. I don't know anyone who has this in their collection. Still, I would love to know if you do. Feel free to comment below. But here's another that I lost along the way. Hopefully, this next plant that I'm about to reveal, another rare Luxurians hybrid, will fare better. Before I reveal what it is, I want to explain or put some context to the reason why I'm using that descriptive word rare, which is very misleading in these times, as well as within the market where people just use it willy nilly to hike the price on plants. But to me, and in this context, and for the purposes of this video, the plant that I'm about to reveal was grown from seed locally here in Trinidad. To my knowledge, and from the information shared by the grower, only a handful of us she shared her plants with. This is my Anthurium Crystallinum by Luxurians hybrid. And more excitingly, it's pushing new growth, of which I think one is an inflow and the other a new leaf. Upon receiving it, I did nothing other than put it in the greenhouse. I didn't even want to look at it for too long, but it's in its original mix. And I spent a lot of time guessing where would be the best spot for it. And I'm thinking I made the right choice. I can't put my head on a block for it. I won't do that anyway, knowing my track record with these plants. But y'all will be the first to know if I actually figure this one out. I know a lot of y'all are interested in these types of plants now. This one truly is commanding in the greenhouse. I know some people might think all Luxurians or Luxurians hybrids look the same. It is a known fact that once there is Luxurians in your cross, it tends to predominantly look like an Luxurians. But in this case, this crystallinum hybrid, it's really about the texture. It is velvety and the sheen is unmatched when it comes to just a regular Luxurians, and the deep ridging really adds more drama to this plant in general. The truth of the matter is, I declined this gift over and over until the grower basically convinced me that I could do it now. And she sent pictures of it, and obviously I couldn't say no. But the fear of disappointing the grower, even up until now, even though it's pushing new growth, is still with me. I do not, I know what it takes to grow Anthuriums, especially from seed, and the effort that goes into bringing about a healthy plant that's actually continuing to grow and size up. And the fear of just disappointing her, I'm still living with that. But I know I am in a better place, and this is giving me all the hope that I need. So anyway, it lives here in the greenhouse, just off to the side from my Anthurium Luxurians chocolate over here. By the way, I forgot to mention that this one was also working on a new leaf. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It looks like just a tiny red line just at the bottom of the petiole of this leaf. But yeah, it's working on a new leaf. So I'm off to a start is what I think, and I'm going to keep you all posted and just in the loop every step of the way. But those are all three for today. And that's the end of my plant haul. I don't want to drag this video out too long. I find my viewership is dropping and I'm not getting as much subs. If you have been here for a while or watching my videos, please consider subscribing. It really helps out my channel in terms of pushing my videos out for more like-minded plant collectors to see. And if you have any of the plants that I've featured today, I would love to hear all about it. Feel free to get in touch, and I'll see you guys in the next one.